Safe class items in the SCP world are objects you can lock up and forget about. They might carry strange powers or odd behaviors, but once you follow a few simple rules, they stay exactly where you leave them. Safe doesn't mean harmless. If you drop the ball, you can still get hurt. The moment you seal their container or room, they stop surprising you and start behaving like any other stored item. Containment procedures for safe items are straightforward. First, you assess what kind of container or environment it needs, anything from a standard locked box to a temperature-controlled vault. Next, you make a checklist. Lock every latch, note power or lighting requirements, and schedule regular inspections. When the logs never show odd readings and the item stays put, the Foundation considers the job done. If something goes wrong, it's almost always human error. Think of a journal that writes predictions in pencil or a simple silver coin that glows under moonlight. Each one might seem creepy, but they never escape or evolve. You record every quirk in your database, lock the door, and check the status sheet daily. That's it. There's no need for armed guards, chaotic lockdowns, or last-minute crisis meetings. Safe items stay safe when you do your job. That straightforward routine is why we call them safe. You contain, monitor, and move on. No surprises, no emergencies, no big stories. That's the safe class, plain and simple. Euclid class entities demand constant attention. Unlike safe items, you can't just lock them up and forget about them. They often behave according to patterns we only half understand, and those patterns can shift without warning. Take SCP-173, the sculpture that snaps to life whenever no one is looking. Line of sight is your only shield, so teams rotate through the cell like a slow-motion game of tag. Or consider SCP-96, the Shy Guy. Expose it to its own image, and it goes into a killing frenzy, hunting anyone who viewed its face, even if they saw it on video. These aren't everyday curios. They're unpredictable forces you have to respect. Containment protocols for Euclid entities are more involved. You'll see reinforced cells, surveillance cameras, sight lines marked on floors, often in 3 directions. Guards check in at precise intervals. Some cells have remote sensors that detect motion or heart rates in the room. If something flickers off schedule, an unattended camera, a missed check-in, it triggers an immediate lock. Euclid means unknown variables. You know more than a safe item and less than a Keter, which we'll talk about next. These entities don't always harm you on sight, but they won't forgive complacency. That's the Euclid class. Unpredictable, demanding, and never taken lightly. A Keter class SCP is not automatically the most dangerous kind of anomaly, but it is one of the hardest to keep under control. The classification really refers to how difficult, unreliable, or costly containment is, rather than how lethal the object or entity might be. In many cases, the SCP Foundation struggles to contain Keter-class anomalies because they either don't fully understand how the anomaly works, or they simply lack the technology and resources to keep it secured. Sometimes these anomalies require extremely complex procedures, with multiple layers of safeguards, constant monitoring, and emergency protocols ready to activate at a moment's notice. Importantly, being Keter doesn't mean an anomaly will harm people on sight. It might actually be harmless if left alone. Instead, the challenge lies in the fact that if the containment ever fails, the consequences are unpredictable, costly, or potentially catastrophic. Thaumiel. A Thaumiel-class SCP is an anomaly unlike most others, because it is not contained, as it is used to lock other SCPs, but rather as an ally or tool that the Foundation can use to combat or contain other anomalies. Instead of existing purely for study or restriction, Thaumiel-class anomalies are kept under the strictest secrecy and security, with only the highest-ranking personnel allowed full knowledge of their functions. Testing and deployment are heavily supervised, as any mistake could turn a vital asset into a catastrophic liability. These anomalies often require close coordination between researchers, containment specialists, and security teams to ensure they can be deployed instantly in times of crisis. Explained SCPs are commonly articles about anomalies that are completely and fully understood, to the point where their effects are now explainable by mainstream science, or phenomena that have been debunked or falsely mistaken as an anomaly. Apollyon. Apollyon class means an anomaly we can't contain. We don't believe we can lock it away, neutralize it, or even slow it down indefinitely. Containment teams know that every barrier they build will eventually collapse under its power. Instead of bolstering walls, they develop evacuation corridors, emergency broadcasts, and mass relocation plans. They catalog safe zones, assign rapid response units, and keep silent backups of key research. They conduct mass casualty drills. Such anomalies are usually associated with world-ending threats or a K-class scenario of some kind, and require a massive effort from the Foundation to deal with. Archon-class SCPs are anomalies that could theoretically be contained, but are best left uncontained for some reason. Archon SCPs may be a part of consensus reality that is difficult to fully contain, or may have adverse effects if put into containment. These SCPs are not uncontainable. The defining feature of the class is that the Foundation chooses to not put the anomaly into containment. Ticonderoga class SCPs cannot be contained, but also do not need to be contained. While these anomalies are similar to Archon class SCPs in that their containment is unnecessary. Ticonderoga-class SCPs are distinguished by also not being containable, given the Foundation's current knowledge and resources. This may be due to their widespread or ubiquitous occurrence on Earth, despite the general public remaining unaware of their existence or anomalous nature. Although the Ticonderoga class also includes extraterrestrial anomalies beyond the current reach of the Foundation. Decommissioned. Decommissioned SCPs are anomalies that have been intentionally destroyed or stripped of their anomalous properties by the SCP Foundation. As the Foundation usually tries to contain rather than neutralize anomalous objects, this object class is only used when it is not possible to fully contain an anomaly or when excessive expenditure of resources is required to keep an anomaly in containment. Decommissioning may also be performed for ethical reasons, particularly when containment necessitates extreme suffering or is unable to prevent excessive loss of life. To avoid any unnecessary losses, decommissioning anomalies requires authorization from a higher authority, such as the O5 Council, the Ethics Committee, or the Decommissioning Department. Hiemal. A Hiemal SCP is a set of mutually containing anomalies, meaning one anomaly keeps another in check, making it a complex system that requires containment of the entire system together. Examples of Hemol-class SCPs include SCP-3240 and SCP-3700, where the containment of one part would release the other, often with negative consequences for humanity.